Stonemason's hammer represents the millennial tradition of working the stone in Dalmatia. The way of life in this limestone region was always heavily influenced by the necessity of working the stone and with the stone. The cultural landscape of Dalmatia is densely intersected with thousands of kilometers of interconnected dry stone bordering walls and vernacular structures. The beginning of the organized quarrying in the area so far cannot be fixed punctually in time, but the oldest example of the walling with ashlar blocks, dated to the late Bronze Age, can be seen at Škrip, island of Brač. Ancient Greek presence in the area brought the advances in quarrying, as can be seen on the walls of Isa. On the island of Hvar, in Stari Grad, one can admire the best preserved ancient Greek agricultural land surveying in the Mediterranean, laid out in landscape through a series of dry stone walls. Roman civilization has brought advanced quarrying practices, as can be seen at the quarries of the island of Brač, directly related to the construction of the magnificent Diocletian's palace in Split. This complex set of skills, preserved up to the present day, has enabled the development of local varieties of historical architectural styles, with some remarkable examples of Romanesque, like the bell tower of the cathedral in Split, or Romanesque and Renaissance at the Cathedral of St. Lawrence in Trogir. One of the places that still keep alive the ancient knowledge that gave birth to these works of art is the small town of Pučišća, island of Brač. It is there, with its quarries, workshops, and the prominent stonemasonry high school, that one can reconnect with the tradition that shaped this part of the Mediterranean. The stonemason's hammer, therefore, is a symbol of processes that shaped the region of central Dalmatia. The Charter of Povlja is the oldest known document written in Croatian language. The first script used on the soil of Dalmatia was the ancient Greek alphabet, followed in antiquity by the use of the Latin script, as testified by the numerous Roman epigraphic evidences. Rare preserved liturgical books, like the Gospel of Split, represent links to the Latin literacy of the medieval period. That was the time of the foundation of Croatian state, when Latin script and language were used to create numerous votive inscriptions on the elaborate liturgical stone furniture. During the same time, script called Glagolitic was developed for the purposes of the evangelization among illiterate Slavic population. Glagolitic Hrvoje's Misal, written in Split, represents the invaluable example of Croatian Glagolitic books. The Charter of Povlja, document written in 1235 on the island of Brač, is the oldest known document written in Croatian language, using the local variety of the Cyrillic script. Locally, Glagolitic and Cyrillic script mostly found their application in the smaller communities, where Croatian language was used for both religious and secular matters until the modern era, while Latin script prevailed in larger centers. This triality is reflected in the oldest and most renowned local legal documents that date back to the end of High Middle Ages, with the Statute of Split written in Latin script and the Statute of Poljica written in Croatian Cyrillic. The Renaissance work of the father of Croatian literature, Marko Marulić, his Judith, written in Croatian, stands as one of the earliest Renaissance epic poems printed in any national language in Europe. The Charter of Povlja, therefore, represents the Croatian written heritage that was formed using three different scripts: Latin, Glagolitic, and Cyrillic. Falkuša is the traditional fishing boat from Komiža, island of Vis. Ironically, the oldest evidence of seafaring in the Adriatic, dated to 7th millennium BC, is the piece of volcanic rock from the Vela Spila archaeological site, island of Korčula. Since those early events, seafaring has shaped the area of Dalmatia and its residents, their way of life and their heritage. Thanks to the invaluable geostrategic position of the Adriatic, as the natural waterway penetrating deep into the European continent, the history of Dalmatia is strongly marked by the relationship of its residents with the sea. Few surviving elements of maritime heritage of Dalmatia show this relationship today in such detail, like the story of the fishing boat Falkuša. Shaped to fit the needs of a fishing company set out from their town of Komiža on a weeks-long sardine fishing venture at the open waters of the Adriatic, the boat gradually became the vessel that holds the complete memory of one traditional fishing community. Rescued from the past by the last living actors of this endangered world, with the aid and guidance of the local scholars from the University of Split, Falkuša became the guiding light for other projects that have brought traditional Adriatic maritime heritage under the deserved spotlight. Leut, Gaeta, Bracera, St. Nicholas, Dalmatian galleys at the Battle of Lepanto, Lazaretto in Split, arsenal in Hvar, Wilhelm von Tegethoff and the Battle of Vis, Mario Puratic and his power block, Swift Shipyard and its cruise ships, all represent invaluable pieces of the cultural mosaic of maritime part of the Dalmatian and Croatian identity that has been, and still strongly is, in the focus of study of humanities at the University of Split.